rural eastern Afghanistan. Two Nuristani brothers pose proudly with their personally decorated weapons. Their intricate craftsmanship and traditional attire reflect centuries of tribal heritage, warrior culture, and the fierce independence that defines Afghanistan's mountainous eastern regions and ethnic diversity. Pacific North, 1944. U.S. Navy men rescue a distressed eagle, carefully holding the exhausted bird. This compassionate moment amid brutal warfare shows humanity persisting even in combat zones, as soldiers pause from battle to save a symbol of their nation. Tehran University, 1975. Students move freely across campus before religious extremists would seize power and fundamentally transform Iran. This snapshot captures the progressive, secular atmosphere that characterized pre-revolution Iranian higher education. March 5, 1906, Philippines. U.S. forces begin their assault on Bud Dajo, firing into a volcanic crater for 4 days. Nearly 1,000 Moro people perish, including many women and children, in a brutal military action that remains controversial. Berlin, 1945. A Volkswagen Schwimmwagen sits on Prinz Albrecht Street amid the ruins of Nazi Germany's capital. This amphibious military vehicle represents the regime's technological ambitions now abandoned in the rubble of total defeat and Allied occupation sweeping through Germany. Los Angeles, 1960s. Glenn Campbell and James Burton, legendary guitarists and close friends, work studio sessions together as part of a renowned Wrecking Crew. Their extraordinary talents shaped countless hit records that defined the California sound of popular music. Stockholm, circa 1909. The Romanov family visits during a diplomatic trip, their imperial grandeur on full display. Within a decade, revolution would violently end their dynasty, making photographs like this haunting reminders of power's impermanence and history's brutal turns. March 4, 1994. Beloved comedian John Candy dies of a heart attack at age 43 while filming in Mexico. For his funeral procession, the lap shuts down the 405 freeway, an honor typically reserved for visiting presidents. Mississippi River, 1938. A pearl diver prepares to descend wearing a makeshift helmet fashioned from a car's old gas tank. This dangerous improvised equipment reflects Depression-era resourcefulness and the extreme risks men took for survival and modest income from river pearling. Sarajevo, 1955. A photograph shows the exact spot and preserved footprints where Gavrilo Princip stood when he assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand and Duchess Sophie on June 28, 1914, triggering World War I and reshaping global history forever. Kaliningrad, Russian SFSR, 1968. The first all-union robot competition showcases Soviet technological ambitions during the Cold War space race era. These early mechanical creations represent the optimism surrounding automation and artificial intelligence before their complexities were fully understood. Central Iraq, March 29, 2003. U.S. Navy Hospital Corpsman Richard Barnett holds an Iraqi child after confused crossfire tears apart a family when local soldiers apparently forced civilians toward American positions. This tragic moment captures war's devastating impact on innocence. Benton, Illinois, 1972. A couple poses for a portrait at a dance. Their formal attire and careful composition reflect small-town America's social traditions, where community gatherings provided connection and romance in an era before digital technology transformed human interaction patterns. 1986. Anthony Kiedis and Flea perform with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Despite releasing their second commercial flop and Kiedis's crippling heroin addiction causing him to fall asleep at rehearsals, LA Weekly names them Band of the Year that same year. Penn Station, New York City, 1943. An 82nd Airborne Division paratrooper bids farewell to his sweetheart before departing for the European theater. This tender goodbye captures the heartbreak of wartime separation as millions of young Americans left loved ones behind. 1954. Kodachrome captures Marilyn Monroe with director and crew fixing the famous tub scene in The 7-Year Itch. This behind-the-scenes moment shows the meticulous filmmaking process required to create Monroe's iconic image in Hollywood's most memorable comic performances. Bikini Atoll, March 1, 1954. Castle Bravo thermonuclear explosion unleashes 15 megatons, the most powerful nuclear test ever conducted by the United States. The massive mushroom cloud demonstrates Cold War atomic escalation and America's terrifying destructive capabilities that threatened global annihilation. Birmingham, May 4, 1963. A black protester is violently attacked by a police dog during demonstrations against segregation. This shocking image, broadcast nationwide, helps galvanize public support for civil rights legislation by exposing the brutal violence maintaining racist systems. New York City, 1872. Jacob Riis photographs the dens of death, part of the infamous Five-Point Slum. His pioneering documentary photography exposes the horrific living conditions of immigrants and the poor, helping drive progressive housing reforms and urban planning improvements. Essen, Germany, 1947. A sex worker stands outside the massive Krupp industrial works in devastated post-war landscape. Survival takes many desperate forms in defeated Germany's rubble, where economic collapse forces people into circumstances unimaginable before total war destroyed their society. New York, 1952. Eartha Kitt lounges in a treetop, showing off her remarkable strength for photographer Gordon Parks. Her athletic grace and confident pose demonstrate the performer's extraordinary physicality and fierce independence that defined her career beyond conventional Hollywood glamour. Late 1800s or early 1900s Michigan. Women ride a decorated float during a parade as crowds gather, and a drummer leads the band. This small-town community celebration, captured on glass, preserves rural America's social traditions and civic pride. 2001. Saddam Hussein's infamous son Uday smokes a cigar beside younger brother Quasi. Both men would become notorious for their brutality and corruption, eventually dying together when American forces attacked their hideout during the Iraq War's violent chaos in 2003. March 4, 1924. Aidan de Bruin completes the first recorded walk around Australia's perimeter after leaving Sydney on September 20, 1921. His 2.5-year journey covering approximately 16,190 kilometers unaccompanied demonstrates extraordinary endurance and determination. March 4, 1890, Scotland. The Forth Bridge, an 8,094-foot railway bridge, is officially opened by future King Edward VII. This engineering marvel demonstrates Victorian Britain's industrial prowess and ambition, standing as testament to human capability. Manhattan, 1937. The Hindenburg airship flies over downtown just hours before its catastrophic crash in New Jersey. This rare photograph captures the massive dirigible's final moments of glory before the disaster would end the era of commercial lighter-than-air passenger travel forever. 1975. 19-year-old Lynette Frum, devoted Manson family member who escaped murder charges, attempts assassinating President Gerald Ford on September 5th. Her plan fails when she forgets loading a bullet into the chamber, demonstrating the cult's continuing dangerous legacy after imprisonment. March 4, 1926. Mariano Limjap passes away at 69. The prominent Filipino businessman, philanthropist, and revolutionary figure played significant roles in Philippine history during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, helping shape the nation's development and independence movements. Los Angeles, June 1960. An American Airlines Boeing 707 departs with extremely smoky exhaust trailing behind. This dramatic scene reflects early jet aviation's environmental impact before stricter emissions regulations and improved engine technology reduced visible pollution from commercial aircraft. San Francisco, 1908. A Victorian home moves down Steiner Street via horsepower after the devastating earthquake. This remarkable engineering feat demonstrates early 20th century ingenuity in preserving architecture as the city rebuilds from catastrophic destruction that leveled entire neighborhoods. Seattle Cedar Lumber Manufacturing, 1939. A man stands in the timber yard surrounded by massive logs. This scene captures the Pacific Northwest logging industry during its peak, when old-growth forests fell to supply America's construction boom and industrial expansion. Atlantic Ocean, March 4, 1943. Aerial view captures USS Alabama at sea during World War II. This powerful battleship represents America's massive naval buildup that turned the tide against Axis powers, projecting overwhelming force across both Atlantic and Pacific theaters. 1978. Christopher Reeve trains intensely to embody Superman physically. His dedicated transformation from lanky actor to convincing superhero demonstrates the commitment required to bring iconic characters to life and establish the standard for superhero physicality in cinema for decades. 1972. A Mercury Marquis broom sits in the foreground of Minnesota's majestic Twin Towers. This massive American luxury car represents 70s automotive excess before fuel crises and environmental concerns would force manufacturers to dramatically downsize vehicles and improve efficiency. February 1958. To study weightlessness effects, scientists convinced Captain Drewy Parks to toss a kitten in the air while cruising his F-94C jet at 25,000 feet altitude. The floating feline photograph captures early, ethically questionable space research methods. Gulf War, 1991. A Denel G5 howitzer sits abandoned by Iraqi forces. During the Iran-Iraq War, South Africa sold approximately 100 artillery systems to Iraq with cluster munitions in illicit deals reportedly worth around $4.5 billion. Siberia, 1978. Soviet geologists discover the Lykov family living in complete isolation. Having fled Stalin's persecution in 1936, they survived 42 years without human contact, technology, or knowledge that World War II had even occurred, demonstrating extraordinary resilience. Chateau des Croix des Gardes, Cannes, 1954. Miss Conviviality poses elegantly at the prestigious location. This moment captures French Riviera glamour during the 50s, when Cannes represented European sophistication and the international jet set gathered for celebrated social events and film festivals. Friedrichshain, Germany, March 4, 1936. The German rigid airship LZ-129 Hindenburg performs its maiden flight from Zeppelin Company's works. Within 16 months, this magnificent vessel would explode in flames, ending the era of passenger dirigible travel forever. March 4, 1959. The first Grammy Awards winners are announced. Domenico Modugno's Vola wins Record of the Year, Henry Mancini's Peter Gunn wins Album of the Year, and the Champs Tequila wins Best R&B Performance, establishing music industry's most prestigious honors. 1939. The Schlauwagen, designed by German engineer Hans Schloh von Westhofen-Darmstadt, demonstrates radical aerodynamic thinking. This futuristic vehicle's unusual teardrop shape aimed to maximize fuel efficiency through reduced wind resistance, though it never reached mass production during wartime chaos. Gothenburg, Sweden, 1958. Brazilian legends Pelé and Zito pose during the World Cup that would launch Pelé's global superstardom. Their youth and talent represent Brazil's emergence as football's dominant force, revolutionizing the sport with creativity and technical brilliance. March 4, 1826. The Massachusetts legislature grants a charter for the Granite Railway, widely recognized as America's first commercial railroad. This pioneering venture marks the beginning of rail transportation that would transform American commerce, settlement patterns, and industrial development. Munich, September 25, 1937. Adolf Hitler meets with Benito Mussolini, Italy's prime minister and prominent nationalist. This alliance between fascist leaders would drag Europe into devastating war, resulting in tens of millions of deaths and unprecedented human suffering. Anfield, 1978. Young Manchester United fan Peter Brooks is led away with a dart stuck in his nose or eye, thrown by a Liverpool fan. This shocking incident reveals football hooliganism's violent reality during Britain's troubled 70s when stadium violence regularly erupted. 1998. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston attend a Radiohead concert together. Hollywood's golden couple enjoys music before their eventual divorce would captivate tabloid media. This casual moment captures them before celebrity pressures and public scrutiny would ultimately destroy their marriage. 1979. Ayatollah Khomeini arrives in Iran after 15 years of exile since 1964. His return triggers the Islamic Revolution, overthrowing the Shah and establishing a theocratic regime that fundamentally transforms Iran's government, society, and relationship with the Western world. Tribeca, New York City, February 10, 1977. Talking Heads perform at the Lower Manhattan Ocean Club. Photographer Alan Tannenbaum captures the art rock pioneers during their early days, before they would revolutionize new wave music and influence countless bands. March 4, 1926, Tacoma, Washington. A view of St. Helens Avenue between 7th and 9th Streets captures the city's commercial district during the Roaring Twenties. This street scene documents Pacific Northwest urban development and automobile culture's growing influence on American cities. Circa 1920s to 30s. U.S. Coast Guard pigeons pose for collection photograph. These trained birds served crucial communication roles before radio technology became reliable, carrying messages across water when other methods failed, demonstrating military ingenuity in utilizing animal capabilities for essential operations. Iwo Jima, March 1, 1945. USMC Sergeant Henry Hansen is killed in action at only 25 years old. His death during one of the Pacific War's bloodiest battles represents the terrible sacrifice of young Americans fighting island by island toward Japan. 2015. Heather Soul shoots and kills a man attempting to rape her after grabbing his gun away. Police discover an enormous kill kit in his car, crediting Heather with stopping an active serial killer whose violence would have claimed additional victims. Northern Wisconsin, 1912. Loggers complete the Iron Ridge Timber Slide, a 600-foot wooden chute built to move felled pine trunks down steep hillsides into rivers. This engineering feat demonstrates the lumber industry's innovative methods for harvesting and transporting massive old-growth forests. Northern Nevada, 1938. The state installs its largest manual telephone switchboard, operated by local women connecting calls by hand using cords and brass plugs. These telephone operators served as vital communication links before automated switching technology would eventually eliminate their profession. Humboldt County, California, 1920. Massive redwood water troughs carved from single logs line rural roads to supply horses and early automobiles. These ingenious structures demonstrate practical engineering using abundant local materials to serve transportation needs in remote timber country. East and South Dakota, 1903. A grain weighing platform installed beside the rail line allows farmers to measure bulk harvests with unprecedented accuracy. Before electronic scales, these mechanical platforms help standardize agricultural commerce and ensure fair transactions between farmers and grain buyers. Lake Michigan Shores, 1946. A small plant introduces one of the Midwest's earliest large-scale mechanical ice cream freezers using ammonia-based cooling technology. This industrial innovation helps transform ice cream from seasonal luxury into year-round mass-produced treat available nationwide. Rural New England, 1917. Surveyors complete granite boundary markers across the region, replacing decayed wooden posts. Each stone was hand-chiseled with property information, establishing permanent legal boundaries that would survive centuries and prevent countless disputes over land ownership and rights. Kentucky River Towns, 1931. Communities construct raised wooden laundry platforms along the water's edge. These structures allow families to wash clothes without standing in mud or water, improving hygiene and comfort for women performing this exhausting domestic labor in rural communities. Central Georgia, 1928. Farmers build a tin-roof produce shed beside the rail spur to protect peaches and melons from sun before shipment. The shed's slatted walls allow air circulation while shading delicate fruit, preserving quality for distant markets demanding perfect produce. 1962. Students work in high school shop class, learning practical mechanical skills. This hands-on technical education prepared generations of young Americans for manufacturing careers and provided essential knowledge of tools, machines, and craftsmanship before computer technology transformed vocational training. Downtown Santa Barbara, California, circa 1890. A hunting party poses on State Street with their harvest and weapons. This casual display of guns and game in the city's commercial center reflects 19th century California's frontier culture, where hunting remained central to masculine identity. The 99th Infantry Regiment's Army commander stands at attention. His formal military bearing and decorated uniform represent the professional officer corps that led American forces through numerous conflicts, maintaining discipline and tactical expertise across changing warfare conditions and evolving military technologies. Circa 1933. A Japanese Type 11 37mm infantry gun unit poses with their weapon. This portable artillery piece represents Imperial Japan's military buildup during the period of aggressive expansion into Manchuria and China that would eventually lead to Pacific War. Puerto Rico, 1976. Muhammad Ali gets distracted by dancer and entertainer Iris Chacon during an exhibition match against local boxer Cholito. The champion's playful moment demonstrates his charisma and showmanship that made him beloved far beyond boxing's traditional audiences worldwide. Tobruk, June 1942. Two captured South African generals stand as prisoners. Their capture during North Africa's brutal desert campaign represents one of the war's most significant British defeats, when German forces overwhelmed Allied positions and took thousands of experienced Commonwealth troops prisoner. Cairo, 1970. Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi sobs during Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser's funeral. Gaddafi idolized Nasser as his personal hero, becoming so distraught throughout the service that he fainted multiple times, revealing the depth of his emotional devotion and political inspiration. 1940s. American ladies enjoy a beach day in this colorized photograph. Their vintage swimsuits and carefree poses capture wartime America's determination to maintain normalcy and joy despite global conflict, as home front life continued while millions of men fought overseas in distant theaters. Boston, 1976. The Soiling of Old Glory photograph wins the Pulitzer Prize, showing a white teenager aiming the American flag like a weapon against a civil rights attorney during massive protests against court-ordered school desegregation, exposing racial hatred's violent persistence. 1978. Microsoft takes its first staff photograph. This small group of young programmers has no idea their software company would grow into one of the world's most valuable corporations, fundamentally transforming computing, business operations, and global technology landscapes over coming decades. Camp Dodge, Iowa, 1918. This incredible photograph shows 18,000 soldiers assembled preparing for war. The massive human formation demonstrates America's rapid military mobilization and the overwhelming scale of troop deployments required for World War I's unprecedented industrial slaughter in European trenches. 1990. Sarah Stockbridge and Susie Cave pose at the Vivienne Westwood Show. Their bold fashion choices and confident attitudes embodied British punk's continuing influence on high fashion, as Westwood's designs challenged conventional beauty standards and celebrated rebellious creativity over commercial conformity. Abalikovo Village, 1911 to 1914. Photographer Kai Donna captures a Kamassian woman. This ethnographic documentation preserves disappearing Siberian indigenous cultures before Soviet modernization, would disrupt traditional lifestyles and assimilate small ethnic groups into dominant Russian society and culture. Circa 1930. Glass negative captures Mongolian circus acrobats demonstrating extraordinary physical skills. These performers maintained ancient entertainment traditions while adapting to modern circus formats, bringing nomadic cultures' athletic prowess and artistic expression to audiences across Central Asia and beyond. New Zealand, 1870. Captain Thomas Potter stands far right with pro-government Maori soldiers outside a stockade in Gisborne or Potiki regions. These fighters, possibly affiliated with the Ngāi tribe, represent complex indigenous politics during New Zealand's devastating colonial land wars. Australia, 1946. A Boba Soxer enthusiastically blows her wig for Frank Sinatra. Young Australian women embraced American popular culture and celebrity worship, demonstrating how Sinatra's magnetic appeal transcended national boundaries and created international teenage fan hysteria matching American Sinatramania's intensity. Circa 1974. Luce's skeleton, the Australopithecus afarensis, stands beside an average 4-year-old girl for scale. This comparison reveals human evolution's remarkable journey, showing our ancient ancestors' size and structure from over 3 million years ago, when hominids first walked upright. Circa 1870. Glass negative captures 2 women dressed as men. Their gender-bending performance reflects 19th century theatrical traditions and hints at hidden queer identities expressed through costume, performance, and photography when same-sex relationships faced severe legal and social persecution throughout Western societies. New Zealand, circa 1910. Photographer Samuel Heathhead captures unidentified indigenous Maori girls laughing together. Their genuine joy and connection transcends the colonial camera's ethnographic gaze, preserving a moment of childhood happiness despite the devastating cultural disruption colonization inflicted on Maori communities. Russian Civil War, 1918. Czech Legion soldiers pose on an armored train during the brutal conflict following the Bolshevik Revolution. These former prisoners of war fought their way across Siberia toward Vladivostok, becoming entangled in Russia's chaotic, multi-sided civil war. Moscow, USSR, 1925. Red Army soldiers robbed Simonov Monastery. This shocking photograph documents the Bolshevik regime's systematic persecution of Russian Orthodox Church, confiscating religious treasures and destroying centuries of spiritual tradition while enforcing militant atheist ideology through state violence and intimidation. 1910. Swiss psychologist Hermann Rorschach, inventor of the famous ink blot test bearing his name, poses for portrait. His psychological assessment tool would become one of the 20th century's most recognizable diagnostic instruments, though its scientific validity remains debated. 1939. Igor Sikorsky flies the world's first practical helicopter. This pioneering achievement revolutionizes aviation by enabling vertical takeoff, hovering, and unprecedented maneuverability that would transform military operations, emergency rescue, and countless civilian applications across the globe for generations. 1913. The last pie wagons posed before delivery trucks replaced them. This photograph from the National Archives documents the planet's largest pie baking concern. The lad on the corner is the photographer's grandfather, forever preserved in this moment of industrial transition. French Front, 1917. Autochrome captures Senegalese soldiers serving France during World War I. These colonial troops from West Africa fought and died in European trenches far from home, their sacrifice often forgotten despite the crucial role they played in France's war effort. 1931. Neil Armstrong, future first human to walk on the moon, poses as a baby yet to take his first steps. This innocent childhood photograph reveals no hint of the extraordinary destiny awaiting this Ohio boy who would become history's most famous explorer. Iwo Jima, 1945. 1 month after D-Day, 2 soldiers from the 147th Infantry use a flamethrower clearing a tunnel position. Hundreds of Japanese soldiers remained underground after Marines withdrew, continuing their desperate resistance from fortified subterranean positions beneath volcanic rock. May 16, 1912. Brothers Lolo and Michel pose with their mother, all survivors of the Titanic disaster. Having escaped the sinking ship, they represent the fortunate few who survived history's most famous maritime catastrophe, when the supposedly unsinkable luxury liner struck an iceberg. Circa 1870, Princess Helen, Duchess of Albany, poses for a formal portrait. Her royal bearing and elaborate Victorian dress represent British aristocracy's wealth and privilege during the height of empire, when royalty's lavish lifestyles contrasted sharply with working-class poverty. 1960. President Dwight Eisenhower attacks a hot dog, while Vice President Nixon enjoys a cigarette watching a baseball game together. This casual moment shows powerful leaders relaxing with America's pastime, demonstrating the era's more accessible political culture, before security concerns isolated presidents. 1955. Official portrait captures Admiral Isaac Rojas as Provisional Vice President of Argentina. His military leadership reflects Latin America's pattern of armed forces intervention in civilian politics, as generals repeatedly overthrew elected governments claiming to restore order and prevent communist influence. Circa 1855. A daguerreotype captures a young lady in formal Victorian attire. This early photographic process required subjects to remain perfectly still for long exposures, creating haunting portraits that preserved 19th century faces with remarkable clarity and intimate detail across generations. 1925. Stalin poses with his new chauffeur and imported Rolls-Royce from England. The Soviet dictator's luxury vehicle starkly contrasts with communist ideology preaching worker equality, revealing the hypocrisy of revolutionary leaders who enjoyed privileges while millions suffered under their brutal totalitarian rule. 1926. Canberra emerges as Australia's purpose-built capital city. This planned metropolis represents a compromise between Sydney and Melbourne's rivalry, creating a new administrative centre designed from scratch according to Garden City principles promoting open spaces and grand governmental architecture. Japan, 1945. A grandfather who traded cigarettes for 2 photographs of Hitler preserves these images. The unusual wartime exchange reveals how Allied servicemen collected enemy memorabilia as souvenirs, treating defeated fascism symbols as curious artifacts rather than ideological threats after victory. January 31, 1961. Ham the astro chimpanzee is strapped in for his space journey. This pioneering primate's flight tests life support systems and weightlessness effects before human astronauts risk their lives, making Ham's successful mission crucial to America's manned space program. Circa 1890, a Union soldier veteran poses with his 2 grandchildren for a cabinet card photograph. His military service during the Civil War remains part of family identity decades later, as veterans pass down war stories and patriotic values to younger generations. 1961. Sophia Loren uses Charlton Heston's sword to cut the rap party cake for El Cid. This playful moment celebrates the completion of the epic historical film, as cast members relax after months of demanding production recreating medieval Spanish battles and romance. Circa 1850. A daguerreotype captures an eagle with remarkable clarity. This early wildlife photography demonstrates the medium's technical capabilities and Victorian fascination with natural history, as photographers documented animals with scientific precision and artistic sensibility during photography's pioneering decades of development. Auckland, New Zealand, 1968. Bar staff pose at El Matador restaurant. Their period uniforms and the establishment's Spanish theme reflect New Zealand's growing cosmopolitan dining culture, as international cuisines and themed restaurants transformed the nation's previously conservative and limited culinary landscape. June 2, 1886. Frances Folsom poses on her wedding day to President Grover Cleveland. Frances becomes the only woman to marry an incumbent president and the youngest First Lady at 21, bringing youth and glamour to the White House. Princeton, 1962. Paul Dirac, father of antimatter and youngest theoretician winning the Nobel Prize in Physics at 31, sets off Saturday mornings with an axe over his shoulder to clear paths in the Institute for Advanced Studies Woods, combining intellectual brilliance with physical labor. 1936. Mekteb-i-Sultani. Galatasaray High School dormitory captures Turkish education during modernization under Ataturk reforms. This elite institution trained generations of Ottoman and Turkish leaders, bridging traditional Islamic scholarship with Western scientific education and secular national development priorities. 1930s. British Army veteran Novel Sinclair Marley, white Jamaican officer, and Bob Marley's father. His complicated racial identity and military service reflect Jamaica's colonial society, where mixed-race relationships crossed rigid social boundaries, producing children who would navigate between worlds. October 29, 1981. Elementary school students from Austin D. Bolt's Elementary School board the school bus in full Halloween costumes. This wholesome scene captures American childhood traditions of costume parades and trick-or-treating celebrations that united communities through shared seasonal rituals. 1919. British aircraft photographed the Ottoman Bosphorus after World War I's end. This aerial view documents the strategic waterway connecting Black Sea to Mediterranean, whose control Britain and Allied powers now dominated following the Ottoman Empire's collapse and territorial dismemberment. England, December 1951. A young couple shares a moment at the Sunset Bar. Post-war Britain slowly recovers from wartime austerity as young people reclaim simple pleasures like dancing and socializing, though rationing and economic hardship continue limiting the generation's opportunities. New York, 1904. The first U.S. subway opens, revolutionizing urban transportation. This underground rail system allows New York City to grow exponentially by moving millions of workers quickly between residential neighborhoods and commercial districts, establishing patterns that define modern metropolitan life. May 8, 1942. The Moshida family awaits relocation to an internment center in California due to their Japanese origin. This shameful moment captures American racism and wartime hysteria that imprisoned over 100,000 innocent Japanese Americans without due process. 1920. Elon Hooker, businessman, supports cutting government waste and strike breaking. His anti-labor positions reflect corporate America's resistance to worker organizing and union rights during an era of violent industrial conflicts between capital and labor over wages, hours, and working conditions. Lancashire, 1918. Factory workers lounge on their newly produced asbestos mattresses, completely unaware of the deadly cancer risks. This horrifying photograph shows industrial workers unknowingly exposed to toxic materials before regulations protected them from profit-driven negligence, causing preventable deaths and suffering. Heidelberg, 1933. A Turkish coffee house serves customers. This establishment represents immigrant communities maintaining cultural traditions abroad and Germany's cosmopolitan character, before Nazi ideology would destroy diversity, forcing minorities to flee or face persecution under the Ray Ames racist policies. Waco Army Airfield, Texas, November 27, 1944. Women Air Force service pilots pose before a North American AT-6 Texan. Wasps ferried aircraft, towed targets, and tested planes, freeing men for combat duty and paving the way for future generations of women in military aviation. Japan, circa 1930. Younger and older samurais pose at a pageant. This ceremonial event celebrates traditional warrior culture decades after the samurai class's official abolition, preserving historical memory and martial traditions even as Japan rapidly modernizes with Western technology and governance. 1940. An Italian soldier operates a flamethrower with his asbestos cap pulled up over his face. This protective gear offers minimal defense against the weapon's intense heat, representing World War II's brutal close-quarters combat where soldiers wielded horrific weapons despite personal danger. Circa 1857. A lady from Maharaja Ram Singh II's harem poses. This rare photograph documents royal court life in Jaipur during British colonial India, when Indian princes maintained traditional customs, including harems, while navigating complex relationships with expanding British power. Circa late 1980s. Keith Richards, Daryl Hall, John Oates, Ronnie Wood, Tina Turner, Mick Jagger, Madonna, and Bob Dylan gather together. This extraordinary convergence of rock, soul, and pop legends represents the music industry's elite during an era when superstar collaborations dominated charts. 1900. Glass negative captures a dentist with a portable drill. This early dental equipment demonstrates medical technology's evolution as practitioners began traveling to patients' homes with compact instruments, making professional dental care more accessible before dedicated office practices became standard nationwide. 1950. Jazz musician Bob McNeely plays on as his audience goes wild with enthusiasm. This energetic performance captures jazz's powerful emotional impact during the genre's peak popularity, when live music created ecstatic connections between performers and audiences through improvisation and raw musical talent. Auckland, 1975. Glendowie College students take a break during the demolition of Auckland's Regent Theatre. Young people help destroy a beloved entertainment landmark, representing how progress and development often eliminate cherished historical buildings before preservation movements gain strength to protect architectural heritage. French Front, June 22, 1917. Autochrome shot captures French soldiers during World War I. This early color photography process preserves the war's reality in vivid hues rather than black and white, making the conflict's human faces and trench conditions feel more immediate and emotionally powerful.